Hi, this is Cindy O'Meara from Changing Habits. Today we're going to be making chocolate, and we'll be making it with our cacao wafers, the Changing Habits cacao wafers, Changing Habits seaweed salt, and Changing Habits Rapadura sugar. And here is a look at what we'll be doing today, these beautiful chocolates. There are a few basic ingredients that you need. You need the cacao wafer. This is the cacao butter and the powder still together. And Changing Habits now has these wonderful wafers, so that's 100% cacao. You also need some sweetener. So I use Rapadura sugar because it has to be a good quality sweetener. So I use my Changing Habits Rapadura sugar, and I like salt in my chocolate, so I use my seaweed salt, the Changing Habits seaweed salt. So they're your basic ingredients. If you want a softer chocolate, which I love, I use coconut oil. So I just add a little bit of coconut oil to soften the chocolate. Depending on how soft you want it, is how much coconut oil you add. So I'll give you the basic recipe, but then it's up to you how you do this. Alright, so here we have the double boiler. Now, if you don't have a double boiler, you can just get a pan, boil the water, and just put a stainless steel mixing bowl on top. It works brilliantly. So we've already measured out our cacao. 250 grams are going in there. We've got the Rapadura sugar, the Changing Habits Rapadura sugar. We've put 100 grams of sugar in there. And I just think when you add salt, it just makes the chocolate. I don't know what it is, but it just makes that chocolate. So about an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon of that salt is absolutely perfect. And I'm going to make a soft chocolate. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons approximately of the coconut oil. Now, what I do first is I'll just give it a bit of a stir, but it really hasn't melted a huge amount yet. But I'll give it a bit, oh, here we go, it is starting to melt. So I'm going to give this a stir to get it all rolling. Remember, always stir. And the double boiler stops it from burning, but it's always good to stir it to just get it going. Look at this, this is just getting into a chocolate very quickly. We've only been going a couple of minutes and we've almost melted every single one of those wafers, the cacao wafers. If you are worried about your temperature, put a thermometer in here. But it's not hot at all. It's actually quite amazing. But I know it's hotter than 37 degrees because this is melting faster than I've ever seen melt when I just have it at 37 degrees. Look at this. This is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So after 20 minutes and stirring intermittently, this is now a very smooth chocolate ready to go into molds, ready to make anything you wish to make with it. So let's say you bought the cacao and the chocolate and the salt and you're ready to go. You don't have any molds, then you can just use a glass or stainless steel baking dish, put some wrap on it, some paper wrap, and then you just pour the chocolate in there. So I made just some before and I just put it in a glass wrap. So we'll just take that off and you just peel the paper off it like so. At this point I will then cut it. Just grab myself a knife. So I usually like to I like to do it like that, and then what I do to make it look really nice is I cut it into squares and then I will make triangles out of it. So we have just these beautiful chocolate pieces with nuts, and we have beautiful chocolate pieces with the nuts. So that's nearly a 500 gram amount of chocolate, so you're not going to go through it very fast, and I usually keep it in glass jars, but usually if there's people around it will be eaten very quickly. So that's one way of doing what you need or what you want with that chocolate. So this is a mold that you can use and it creates a chocolate very similar to this, and you can make different chocolates by putting different things in each of the sections. So we could make a cherry ripe, but we make it with goji berry and fresh coconut. Just put a little bit of coconut in there. We could also make one with puffed quinoa. So you just add the quinoa into each of the sections. Or we could do chia seed, not soaked, just put it in dry. The chocolate will bring it all up. And what I do with the chia seed is I add a little bit of probiotics. So if your kids aren't eating their probiotics, this is where you can get their probiotics in and they won't know because they'll be eating chocolate. It's just wonderful. Okay, so just throw that in. Or we could do a little bit of chili. We could just sprinkle the chili in. This is one of my favorites, is chili lime. So add the chili. We can also just do a mixed nut. And this is mixed nut and fruit. Or you could put some frozen raspberries or blueberries that have been chopped. The world's your oysters. You could put cinnamon, like if you got some cinnamon and ground this and put that in there. There's just so many options that you have to make different types of chocolate. So these are the little silicone trays. Now, normally I wouldn't cook with silicone, but we're not heating. This is at 37 degrees, so I'm not too worried about it. And for my way of looking at it, if you're making your homemade chocolate, let's make it nice and easy. So I put berries in these ones, but I'm just going to make these plain. So I would just pour these in. And if you slop it, don't worry, because what you can do is you just get a knife and you just put that knife over the silicone tray and make sure the chocolate goes in there. And yeah, you can even get it with your finger if you really want. Okay, so these are beautiful, these ones. Just pour it on, so easy. And then this is the chili. Now I could have put a couple of drops of lime in there, but it might have been a bit strong, so I make a whole batch of chili lime chocolate because it's such a favourite in this house. And here's my cherry ripe with goji berry and coconut. So we'll just add that in there. And then we'll put that in the fridge.